Thank you. We're in the cinema, so I thought this would be appropriate, right? Let's kick off. Yes, be amazed. Hi, as was said, my name is Rowdy. I'm a freelance web and app developer. Boost it up a little. I also work for the largest Dutch insurance company called Nationale Nederlanden. Now I'm a senior developer there, mainly doing Vue.js. But also I'm the lead developer of our pension app. Nowadays that's easy because I'm the sole developer of this app, but we were with more. And I'm progress developer expert for NativeScript. If you want to reach me, use Twitter. That's everything I look at. Please post pictures and stuff like that and mention me. And as you probably already know by now, I really love that Siri going on. I really love superhero movies. And I just have to stand here. I've seen them all. It started with Howard the Duck in 1986. Jeremy knows what I'm talking about. And I've seen all the DC and Marvel ones, the good ones and the bad ones. Nowadays, my girlfriend joins me, fortunately. She told me I was getting the body of Thor. I was really excited. Then I realized she said it to me after we watched the Endgame movie. So if you have seen it, you know what she means. Back to this guy, Nicolas Cage. He did try out the Superman hero suit. Tim Burton was going to make a movie. Fortunately, I say it didn't happen. Because, well, you can imagine why. He ended up in two other superhero movies, by the way. Ghost Rider 1 and 2. Fortunately, his head was up in flames most of the time. So I say that's a win. So let's dive into the first one. And what I did is I combined superheroes with browser superpowers. So in this case, Professor X, he has a device called Cerebro, with which he can find mutants all over the world. So what browser API would relate to that? Any ideas? You should know this one. It's the geolocation API. You probably all have used it or seen it. It's one I want to start off with because it's one we quite familiar with. I'm standing in front of it, but below is the browser support. The first 6 ones are, say, laptop, desktop, and the other 3 are mobile. I also put the HTTPS SSL sign there, indicating whether you need an HTTPS connection or not to use this. We're living in 2019, so I think every website should have the HTTPS connection, but just in case you can still relate whether it's necessary or not. So this one is only available on HTTPS, and that's because of security reasons. And how does it work? Well, if you have your phone, you have a GPS in there, so it will use your GPS location. If you use a laptop or a desktop, you don't have that. So it will look for your Wi-Fi connection and your public IP address. That's usually not that accurate than your phone, but it's better than nothing, right? So how do you use that? Because it's well supported, you can just call it directly with geolocation.getCurrentPosition. And you get a position back, and in that position, that contains the latitude, the longitude, the accuracy, and the altitude. Let's try it out here. And as you can see, it's in Dutch, it's up there. The browser asked me to give permission to use my location. And that's a good thing from this browser API because you don't want to be followed all the time. You have your Facebook app for that, right? So let's see if it works. Yes, we get a latitude and longitude, and it says, well, it's more or less 67 meters in accuracy. Altitude is null. We're in the Netherlands, right? So we're flat. That's easy. Okay, you have the coordinates, but wouldn't you rather plot it on a map? And this is really easy to do. Define, in this case, a div with an ID of map, and make sure you have an API key from the Google Maps. And you can execute this script, interact with it. Again, you ask for the current position. You make an object with the latitude and longitude, and you pass it around to a Google map you just created. You set the center to that current position. You choose the map type you want to use, in this case a satellite view, a zoom level, and in this case also a marker to know where you are. And it looks like this, and I think it's pretty accurate, right? I'm not sure where we are in the building, but it's good enough. If you're going to use this on your website, please put it behind a button or something. Don't have your page load this immediately, because I think the first reaction will be no. And then all your hard work is done for nothing. Let's move on to another superhero. My brother with a better body. Thor. Well, Thor has power, electricity, right? You can see it here going on. So a browser API that corresponds with that is the battery status API. And it does what it says. It gives you information about your battery. Because it's not widely supported, you can see below, you have to check whether it's supported or not. And you heard this morning, but Jeremy also, don't assume it is supported. If you do that, you get a battery object back, and you can check whether it's charging or not. You get a boolean in the first part. If it's charging, how much time it will take to be fully charged. Discharging, well, the other way around, and the current level of your battery. You can also hook into events. So if the level changes, or somebody plugs his adapter therein again to have more battery power, you can act on that. In this case, I'm at 48%, and it will take about roughly 6,400 seconds to completely drain my battery if I go on like this. So I have 30 minutes to go. Let's hope it will not go that way. You can use this, for instance, for progressive enhancement. If you see that the battery level is low, don't load those high-end images or movies. Just give a lighter version of it. Captain America. He's been in the eyes for decades, right? But one of the things he is very good in is his memory. And if I say memory, then we're talking about, the memory API. That provides what it says, information about your device. Also, mainly supported by Chrome, Google Chrome, because Google wants to move the web forward and have all these APIs available. It returns the amount in gigabytes, but be aware, it's not the available memory, it's the total memory of the device. And possible values depend from 0 to 5 to 8 gigabytes. And there's a threshold on the bottom and the top for security reason to protect your privacy. So in this case, I have a MacBook with 16 gigabytes, but it will not show that. You'll see that in a minute. Again, check whether it's available and then ask for it. That's the easiest thing. And it says I have at least 8 gigabyte. Also, just like the battery power, if it's low end, don't serve heavy images or videos or animations. Let's go to this woman. This is Black Canary. And as you can see, she can scream. She has something called a canary cry that will really hurt you. Web audio, we can scream with web audio. With web audio, you can do a lot of stuff. You can play audio, you can record audio, you can generate audio, and we'll go through that in a minute. The easiest one is what we got with HTML5, I think back in 2011 already, is an audio element. So we can play an audio file. No need to have iframes with YouTube or whatever. We can play it directly. I have an attribute there called controls, and that makes sure I have controls here. So let's see if the audio works.
Wow, nice suit. Zip it, Stanley.
Let me crank up the audio a little bit.
Wow, nice suit. Zip it, Stanley.
Okay, playing audio. Don't do this. Have audio on autoplay and loop, and don't provide controls, because we're going back to the 90s, I think, with the Internet Explorer background sound. And we all really, really like that, right? If you're old enough to remember, sorry. By default, audio files are preloaded. If you don't want that, you can set it to none or metadata. And metadata will mean it will only, for instance, load information about how long the sample is, the audio file is. As I said, you can also record. So if I do that, press enable here, again, it will ask for my permission on top to use my microphone. Great. And now you can see audio waves going on. So let's record something. Hello, Frontend United, great to be here. And it's recorded, and I can play it again. Hello, Frontend United, great to be here. And it's great to hear your own voice. So what did I do here? I created an audio element, and with media devices get using media, I can get access to audio and video. In this case, I only want audio, so I said audio is true. If I do that, I will get a stream back. And you know what's nice about it? The stream is always binary. And in JavaScript, we have a blob class that's also that's meant to store binary data. So it's really easy to capture that stream and save it in a blob. And afterwards, you can set the source of that audio file, or sorry, the source of that audio element to the contents of that blob. Okay, playing audio, recording audio. How about generating audio? To do that, you have to create an audio context. And from that audio context, you choose an oscillator, or you create an oscillator first. You set a frequency to that oscillator, in this case 100 hertz, so very low. And I choose a type. This is sawtooth, but you also have sine, triangle, and you can create your own one. Then you have to connect that oscillator to the audio context and start it. And more important, stop it. If you don't do that, you have to reload your page or whatever, because it will continue. So in this case, I said, well, start it and stop it after 2 seconds using the built-in clock for audio. That's way more accurate than set timeout, for instance. So altogether is like this. And let me crank up the volume and give you the low frequency. And it sounds like this. It's like a steamboat, right? But of course I can generate a high one. And this is my favorite part always. See you in the audience. Yeah, I see some people. Well, let me make it up to you. I have a super high one, and if you hear that one, I'll buy you a beer or whatever later on the day. If you hear this one, if you're the first one to hear this, put up your hand and you win the prize. Did I say there's also, if you lie, then there's a... Okay. This is a super high one. Anyone? Okay. To be fair, we cannot hear this because it's 40 kilohertz and you have to be a bat or Batman or a dog or something. I have to assume that my laptop produced that 40 kilohertz tone because, well, I couldn't hear it either, right? We can hear about, if you're young enough, you can hear about to 20 kilohertz, so 50% of that. But what if we can hook up instruments to our browser and make music with it? And this is the part I'm scared about. It's called the Web MIDI API, and MIDI is a standard that's used all around the music industry from around 1983 to be able to use instruments together. Before that, everyone has his own implementation, so it was really hard to combine instruments like that. You see, it has changed. There's less support for that, but you don't need to be on SSL for that. So again, check whether it's available with request media access. And if it does, then ask for it. If everything goes well, we go to the function called onMIDI success. In this case, onMIDI success will listen to all the inputs you're putting through your MIDI device. And it will then call the function, in this case, getMIDI-message. And what does getMIDI-message do? It gets a message. And that message is an array of 2 or 3 integers. The first one is the command. And you can see the switch statement below. If it's command 128, in this case with a synthesizer, it's when you release what is it called? When you release the button, let's call it button, I don't know. And 144 is when you press it. The note is the second one in the array. And the third one, if any, it's how hard you press it. So that's the velocity. We're going for 144, note on, so I press the key on the keyboard. It's probably called key, right? And what do we do then? We get the note and we get the velocity. The note, with that note you can calculate the frequency, because every note has a certain frequency, so we can hear it. I didn't make this up. This is a real way of calculating the frequency. I just take it for granted. It works. So, and I simplified it a little bit so you already have an audio context with an oscillator and stuff like that. But you set the frequency on the oscillator, and on the gain you set the velocity for the volume. And now we go with a demo. I got this nice piece of equipment. It's a really handy synthesizer from Akai. Make sure everything works. So I'm going to connect it. It's just by a plain USB cable. And it says it's connected. You can see it on top. Okay. Put it here. I go one further because I want to play something for you. But I'm not that really good. I was a DJ back in the 90s, but in that days we just mixed other people's records. We didn't create our own music. Well, I didn't. So let me see if I can wing this a little bit and see if you recognize it. Woo! But what is it called? We're in Netherlands, so we're in a limb. It's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, or it's Kortjakje, yes. Always is Kortjakje ill. I know, I butchered that one. But if you're a better pianist than I, then you can do marvelous stuff. But, you know, you can do other stuff as well. If I hit a note, I can change the oscillator type or the volume, or maybe pitch it up a little, or be really annoying. Okay, I think that's enough annoying for you. I use the switches on top for that. You can program that any way you like. You again, if it's a key or it's a switch, it will give you 3 numbers. But we also have those red things on top there, the keypads, and that's also fun because if you don't do anything, it's like you're hitting the notes. But if you program them differently, you can use MP3 files, for instance. Well, that's from Flash Gordon. That's something different, but I try to find some music that relates to superheroes. That's really hard because most of them are just scores. But this group did Flash Gordon, so maybe you remember this one. We will rock you. And I have. Can you join me? With your hand and your feet, maybe make a little noise. I like it. Thank you very much. You can continue that in the break, or if you want to. It's back. Come on. Yes. So I could spend hours on it, but don't do it. Let's not do that. Move on. Move on to the next one. Superman. He has heat vision. What do we relate with vision? Video. And in this case, media capture and streams API. We can play video. We can record video. We can do weird stuff with video. For instance, just like the audio, we have a video element. And in this case, I put controls on it and an MP4 file. So it gives me time to take a little drink and entertain you with a little movie.
Are you Tony Stank?
Yes, this is Tony Stank. You're in the right place. Thank you for that. Never dropping that, by the way. Table for one, Mr. Stank, please, by the bathroom.
So it's very easy to integrate a video on your website. Be aware that if the video is very long or very big in size, it will drain your monthly, say, allowance, your bandwidth. I had a customer that definitely wanted it on his own website and not on YouTube, for instance. And after 1 week, he called me, can you put it on YouTube and put an iframe on my website? So be aware. As you saw, you can have the controls. You can have it on autoplay, loop, and muted. And you can also record it. So let me try something very dangerous here again. Fortunately, it asked me if I want to accept using my camera. That's fine. I'm not sure. There's enough light. Let me see. I have to set like this and make a fool out of myself now. If I see any picture on the internet from this, I will hunt you. But you can do all kinds of stuff. What we do here now is I take a screenshot, one frame of the video, and put it on a canvas element, and then put some stupid stuff around it. But you can also make your own Instagram filters, for instance, in the browser and use them in real time. What I did here was have a video on autoplay. If you don't put it on autoplay, then it's just one frame, and that's the first frame that's black, so you don't see anything. You have to have it on autoplay. And with that, you can use the get user media again to get a stream of data and just hook that stream back to the video element, put it on the source. There are other things people do with it. This is my dear friend Asim. He created, together with machine learning, a way to play Pac-Man. Yeah, why not? Or this guy, Oz, created Duck Hunt with his face and expressions. I tried this. I really suck at it, but he seems to enjoy it. So there are a lot of ways you can use video. Also for online conferencing, for instance, have a direct connection to the other party without having to use any other services. Let's move on to the next one. Our green friend. The Hulk, and as he says, he's always angry. He's heavy. If he jumps somewhere, it will shiver and it will vibrate. So yeah, the vibration API, that's a really nice one. If your device supports it, you can let it vibrate. And it's really easy to do. Again, you have to check for it because, as you can see, not all browsers support it. And you can say, well, vibrate in this case for 200 milliseconds, or you can give a pattern and it will say vibrate for 100, be silent for 200, vibrate for 300, etc. On, off, on, off. The main thing is you have to have a device that can vibrate. Usually that's a phone. But as you can see, it has to be an Android phone because iOS doesn't support this. So I could hand around an Android device, but that really take a long time for you to feel what it's like. If you have an Android device, you can scan this QR code or go to this URL. Make sure you're using the Google browser in there, the Chrome. And you will see that picture, and if you hit that picture with your finger, it will start to vibrate. For those who don't have an Android, I recorded this in a hotel room a year ago to demonstrate how that works. That's the best I could do, sorry. Is there any valuable use in it? Well, maybe to alert a user if something goes wrong. But that's all. That's it, actually. But have fun with it. Okay, next superhero. This is Sue Storm, also known as the Invisible Woman from the Fantastic Four. And, well, as her name says, she can become invisible. And we have something called the Page Visibility API. And that will detect whether the document, say the content of your tab or your browser that is currently active, is visible or not. Because it's well supported, you're allowed to do this. Ask if the document is hidden or not. There's also states like visible, hidden, pre-render, unloaded. I'm not sure what you really want to do with that, but you can use it if you want to. But the main thing is you can add an event listener to a change of visibility. And I have an example of that. If we play this video, you can see initial page visibility is visible. Let's play it.
Now back off.
Susan, let's not fight.
No, let's.
Susan, you're fired.
This gotta hurt. And she's gone.
Marco Polo.
What? She's not called Marco Polo, right? Maybe it's some kind of game. Let's see. Marco Polo game. Oh. It's like one player shouts Marco, the other shout Polo. Okay, do you know that game, Marco Polo? He didn't because he shouted Marco and Polo, but who can blame him? But did you also notice what happened? The video paused, yes. So if I close this tab, it will continue. The end, by the way. Don't worry. So you can use this to stop events going on the page. One, to make sure the user gets back in the situation they left your page at that point, and also not to annoy your user. So kill video or pause video or audio, stuff like that. Let's move on to our friend Groot. Well, he can dance, but also he can speak, and he's very literate, right?
I am Groot.
Okay, that's his whole vocabulary. But what I did here now is use the speech synthesis API. And this API has a lot of nice words for me in it. So let's try. Basically, it's text to speech. It's easy as that. Siri was kicking in again. What you do, you have to create a speech synthesis. Bear with me. From that speech synthesis, you can get voices, and that's an array. Then you create a speech synthesis utterance with the text you want to have pronounced. Then, on this speech synthesis utterance, I'm getting used to this now, you set a voice. And in this case, I tried to find a particular voice, the Google UK English Mail. This voice is only available if you're online and using the Google Chrome browser, because it's specific for Google Chrome. But you can also use ones that are already in your browser available. After that, you set the pitch and the rate you want to have. And you say, well, please speak. That's what I did there. So a little demo with different voices. So I could say for our Dutch here, and Xander will tell us,
Het is bijna tijd voor lunch.
it's almost time for lunch. But I can say front end United is awesome, for instance. And let's choose Fiona, for instance, English.
Frontend United is awesome.
Okay, that's her now. Tomorrow, on the second day after the party, she might be more like this.
Frontend United is awesome.
Yeah, it's great to be here, right? I've used this myself on a project that there were pages with a lot of text, and we had some users that were, had troubles reading that or didn't have enough focus to read all that text. So we just used text-to-speech for that to help them. I must say the voice differs on browsers, so it could be nice, it could be a little annoying. And I have to say, in the end, we just recorded all MP3s for that. That was fun. Okay, let's move on to another one. Doctor Strange, He is strange. He has magic. And one of the things I consider magic is something called the Web Bluetooth API, because this machine can connect maybe to that robot there. That's cool. Let's see how it works. The first thing you have to do is make a connection to it. You have to request the device. I made sure I have a name prefix here. If you don't do this, and I've seen a friend of mine doing that at a conference, you get all the Bluetooth devices that are available in the room. And essentially, if there are too many, the browser will just crash. So make sure you know what device you want to connect to, and optional you can set what kind of service do you want to use from that device. And it works in a couple of layers. So if you have a connection, you get an array of objects. Say an array of objects. That's the server. Then you dive deeper and get a service, which you can say is an object. Go one layer deeper. I want to have a characteristic of that device, a property. And with that characteristic, I can write bytes to it and give it commands to do stuff. So let's see if that works. I have to make sure he's alive. And he stays on his feet. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, come on. I know you can do it. Yes, big boy. So what I can do is try to connect to it. And my browser only finds that one, not all your phones, fortunately. I can say connect. And if his belly turns green, it is green, it's connected. And he can make sounds to you. I don't know, it's random, so maybe it's obscene or maybe it's very charming, but well, I don't know if you can hear it in the back, but what's more important, I can make him move with just using these arrow keys. And he's, well, the floor is a little bit hard for him, but you know, he can dance around and have fun. But you know what? I don't like to hit these buttons. Why not use another API that's available? That's called the Gamepad API. You can use it to play, for instance, Pac-Man on your computer, but also you can control your robot with it. I think I'm going to let him dance because that's easier. So also one of the things is Gamepad API. It just sends the command to your computer and sends it to the device there. He's probably going to drop if I continue to the next slide. Oh, we're disconnected. Okay, he stays. I want to close off with some last remarks. Captain Marvel, she hits old ladies. I don't know if you saw that in the beginning, but that's cool. There are other marvelous APIs out there. The notification API, for instance. We all love those notifications, right, in a browser. It's good for Slack, maybe, but that's all. We have the Service Work API, and if you were awake this morning, Jeremy told a lot about that. For instance, to create progressive web apps or a progressive web. Screen orientation, device orientation APIs, you can do stuff with that. Credential management API is also available, so you don't have to create your own login, for instance. You can use an API for that. Network information is also one of those. Is a user offline or online? What's his connection speed? And the file API, what we do at Nationale Nederland, for instance, is we let people upload a certain file and we handle that in the browser. We don't have to send it to the server back and do stuff with it there. We can do it directly in the browser already. So it's really near the end, but I have to connect with something else for a final demo, and I hope it works. Come on. Yes, it's connected. By the way, this is a t-shirt from China. I ordered it one size bigger than my normal size. Ordered it 3 times bigger next time because it's a little bit tiny. But you can see I have the yeah. Shut up. I have tried to create the front end a Unite logo there. But let's roll the credits. And you know, if you go to a DC or a Marvel movie, always stay in the room until the credits are done, right? Usually there is something more. So there's something extra. Don't complain. So this is also Bluetooth again. But there's also another API that I really like. That's speech recognition API. You can talk to your browser. For instance, say, is anybody there? Yes. He's there. Hello, Stan. Hello. I feel really special now. Stan talking to me. Any last advice?
You know, I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
I hope I made a little difference in your life. Teach you 1 or 2 things. And thank you very much. And he doesn't stop, so
He's still clapping. So,
yeah.
Thank you. That was super entertaining. I love
you.
that. We've just got a couple of questions on the Slido, and while we ask those, if there's any more, keep them coming, or upvote the ones that you think are most relevant. So this is from Jeremy. Does the battery API require permission?
No, it doesn't. That's weird, but it's allowed to use without any permissions.
Excellent. What have we got here? Is it possible to pause and continue this text-to-speech output?
Sorry, is it possible to?
Pause and continue the text-to-speech output.
No, it will just ramble all on. If you have a long text, then you have to wait until it's done. That can be really annoying.
Geolocation API, altitude equals sea level? Question mark.
Yeah, that's null. It cannot determine whether it's 1 or 2 or 3 meters. It's just null. Doesn't know.
There's some more coming. Someone has said, have you ever tried btonal and then put a web link to it? Ever heard of btonal?
No, sorry.
Okay.
Please, if I'm not sure if the person is here, but explain to me, please, later on.
It might be someone, one of our reunited guys. So, but
otherwise,
there's a link here.
Please contact me and show me a link or something, because I'm interested, definitely.
What have we got here? What is your most favorite API?
I have to say Bluetooth, but it's also the most annoying one to get things working. To be honest, I also use other demos, and I stole them from Niels Lanier, who was here last year. But these are my own. But he won a robot during a conference that I organized, so I'm afraid he's going to use my demo there. But, well, we're here to share, right?
Is it possible to connect 2 web apps through Bluetooth and not only sending one way?
It's one-way direction. You don't get any feedback from the device itself, so it's not like you can say communicate to each other, both robots, for instance.
That's all on the Slido. Yeah, that's all that's come in. So give us a big thank you to Rowdy.
Thank you.